Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today I have something kind of special for you. We're gonna do a room tour of our Riviera Tower Studio room. Now, I know there are a lot of you who are like, hold on a second, you don't like the Riviera, why did you stay there? Great question. Look, just because I don't like something doesn't mean that I shouldn't learn more about it. I think that we should give things a chance. And so that's exactly what I did with the Riviera. I booked a stay and I booked the room that I know isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I thought was the most interesting, a tower studio. It is the smallest room on Walt Disney World property. I thought it was really exciting. I thought it was really interesting. Now, I have a lot to say about this room. We're gonna talk a lot about it over the next month. Like, we're spreading out the videos just like we normally do. So make sure that you subscribe and stay tuned for that. But let's take a look also before we jump in there. Please note that this isn't like our normal room tours. Unfortunately, we ran into some technical difficulties with the camera, so it looks a little bit different, but I hope it still works for you. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. The first thing you'll notice about this room is how small it is. You may also notice that there is no visible bed. It's there, it's just hiding. This room is 220 square feet, which makes it the smallest room on Walt Disney World property. Being so small, it's vital that the space is used well, and this room is kind of mixed in that area. So here we have some shelves. There's plenty of space to put your stuff on these shelves, although they're quite tall. Here's a light switch. You'll notice it doesn't really do much. There is a light switch on either side. As you can see right there, that's kind of all the light that you get. We do have some drawers here. They are nice and deep, which is nice. You can definitely tuck some things away in here. And again, that's going to be very important with a room of this size. Over here we do have this large cabinet. If you open it up, we see our extra pillow and blanket. That's actually not extra at all. You will need that for the bed, which by the way is a Murphy bed. So it's right here. We're gonna have to pull it down, but we'll talk more about that later. This is a good space to not only put some luggage, but you can also put the pillows in there if you're going to fold your bed up later. Here we have some dishes, 2 plates, 2 bowls. These are actual glass, which is not something you usually see in a deluxe studio in a Disney Vacation Club villa. I didn't expect to see them here. We do have that metal cutlery. We have a toaster, a sponge, but no soap. So we can clean the dishes, kind of wipe them off, but not really clean them, and some other basic amenities as well as paper towels in this cabinet. We do have a microwave in this room, which is nice. It's great for reheating leftovers. I love bringing leftovers back to my room and eating them later. And then down here we have our mini fridge. Now this is a very small mini fridge. It does not have an ice maker. It's really more of a beverage cooler than an actual mini fridge, but it'll still do the job. It'll keep things cool during your stay. Next, we're going to take a look at this couch. So this is located in the center of the room, and it's actually part of the Murphy bed, so it doesn't move. It is attached to the bottom of the bed. Like I said, we'll pull that down a little bit later, but there's nothing really above it because that is space for the rest of the bed. This couch isn't very comfortable. It is very noisy, but again, it does do the job. Now, in front of the couch, we have these 2 ottomans, and they are separate, so you can pull them apart, although they're a little bit difficult to move. They are a little bit heavy, and the top of these do come off and they turn around to be a tray on the other side. So it's a little bit difficult to do with one hand, but as you can see, they do offer a little bit of storage and a bit of a tray, which allows them to act as an end table or a nightstand. Now moving over to the other side of this wall, we do have some shelving. You'll see that there are 2 shelves up here. I'm 5'7", and it is very difficult for me to reach that top shelf, so I'm not entirely sure if I'd be comfortable putting things up there, but it is an available option. I do recommend, if you're going to store things up there, that you are very careful about what you put up there and make sure that you double check that area before you leave so you don't leave anything behind. That said, the shelf that's underneath it is a reasonable height. I think that you can store backpacks, bags up there. Down below, we do have this desk area. There is a light switch over here, which turns on a light on this side as well. This is a little bit difficult to explain, but the light switch on either side lights up the light at a different brightness. So one side lights them up more dim, the other side lights them up more bright. I don't understand why they do that, but it's the way it is. Here we have some coffee pods and other fixings to make coffee. We do have a phone. This is an older one. It doesn't have that cordless handset. And then of course we have the desk with the chair. There are two drawers on this side. So here you'll see they're just like on the other side, deep and long, which is really nice because again, we need all the space we can get. There is a trash can underneath this chair. This chair is very heavy though. It's very noisy, and I do feel like that is a bit of a problem for a few different reasons. Not only is it tough to move, but you can hear when everyone moves their chair in this section of the resort. Here, looking out our window, you can see that we do have the Skyliner right out there, and we do have this strip that is coming off the window. Lots of things like that in this room. Here you'll see the view of the parking lot, which is right outside our window. And then if we turn a little bit farther, you will see the balcony. Now, we didn't go out there at this point because it was just a little bit hard to maneuver, but it is a very small balcony. It does have a great view though, so I do think that that is fantastic. And I think it's going to give us an amazing view of Epcot forever. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I do like that this is a big open glass door because it does make the room feel a little bit bigger, but you'll notice that the chairs on this balcony are pushed all the way up against the railing, and it is definitely difficult to maneuver out there. It's hard to move around with so little space, and that makes it difficult to enjoy, definitely difficult to open and shut the door if the chairs aren't pushed all the way forward. So we have our big television and this shelf where you can put a few things. It is very narrow, so it doesn't hold a whole lot, but you can still put some things there. Then we have our trash and recycling bin under here. And if we turn this way, we find ourselves in the bathroom. Now this bathroom is rather large, but the room isn't used all that well, or the space isn't used all that well, I should say. The more we look around, you'll notice what I'm talking about. But first, let's focus on this mirror. Now this is a big, beautiful mirror. It does have a light. We usually love that. It has a button that allows you to adjust the temperature of the light, which is really great. Unfortunately, it's so dark in here that even with that lighting, it does make it difficult to get your makeup on, especially because of the placement of the lighting, but we can get more into that some other time. There's a makeup mirror here on the vanity, and of course, there is a large sink area. It's big enough that you can put some stuff, but not big enough that you can spread out, so that's something to take note of. We do have H2O Plus products, including all of these H2O Plus products and cooling aloe. Have you ever seen that? I've never seen it. It's also pretty interesting that we do have wall-mounted H2O Plus products as well. I don't know if they're just trying to utilize what it is that they have. Nonetheless, that is available here. We do have some cubbies where we can put extra toiletries and whatnot, and then under here you'll see some extra toilet paper and tissues, as well as a hair dryer. There's definitely space down there to tuck some things away too. Here we have the toilet, and I did think it was very interesting that there are these grab bars by the toilet, which is not something you usually see in a room that isn't an accessible room. Now, we're always keeping an eye out for this type of thing, and this isn't an accessible room. I don't think it would be ideal for someone who has mobility needs, but I thought it would be interesting to point out. Now, as you can see, it's kind of dark in here. I did just point out that light over the sink, so it's hard to see, but we do have some towels. Only enough towels for each person, so two can sleep in this room. So we have 2 towels, 2 face cloths, and 2 washcloths. Not a whole lot, especially since towel service only is done every 4 days. We'll talk more about that when we do our room review, but let's take a look at this tub and shower. Now this is a handheld shower, which is really nice, although it's kind of grimy. It looks kind of gross. The tub also isn't that big, which is a little bit odd. It feels very tight, and while this is a very small room, at least overall, it does feel weird to have such a small tub in such a large bathroom. Anyway, if we turn around and look at this closet area, we see that as soon as it opens, a light goes on. That's pretty cool. There are some shelves in here. Again, extra pillow and blanket. That's actually just 2 pillows for this room, so you have a total of 3 pillows and 1 extra blanket. We have a safe, we have a laundry basket, which is something that you usually don't see in these rooms because there is no washer and dryer. But nonetheless, it's still nice to have that available to us. So anyway, we're making our way back out into the main room so that we can pull the bed down. Russ is actually helping us with this. He's first going to push these ottomans out of the way. Now, when we actually settled in for the night, we put them underneath the television. They fit there really nicely, but there are so many places you could tuck them away. Then, of course, if you pull down the bed, which was a little bit difficult. We struggled a little bit with this. It did make quite a bit of noise. I wish that the noise was still available. I'm sorry for that. But here we have the bed. You can see there's this beautiful artwork on the wall, or on the headboard, I suppose you could say, as well as a light. There's also a little nook on either side, which I suppose serves as a bit of a side table, a little bit of a place where you could charge things, because there were some outlets there as well. Now, you know the drill. We're always keeping an eye out for the amount of space on either side of the bed, and there is plenty of space to get up and move around, although this side of the couch kind of could make it awkward depending on who you are, and definitely makes some noise when you roll out of the bed, as Russ is doing right here, and then kind of put a little bit of weight on that. It does make a loud noise. If you're sleeping with someone, you might find that they wake up because of that noise. But honestly, there was plenty of space. It's a little tight here because that ottoman is in the way, but once we tucked it away, there was plenty of space on either side of the bed to get out and walk around the bed. It did make the room a little bit tight though, so I do think that you're going to have to put the bed up and take it down every day, which is something that we heard other guests doing. It is very loud. Everyone in this area of the resort does have one of these beds, so you could definitely hear it, and that's something to make note of if you're planning on staying in one of these rooms. But it is tight, not too tight though, at least not in my opinion. Of course, we do love the artwork on the headboard there. Now, in this next portion of the video, you will see that Russ is putting the bed up and down multiple times. This is because he's trying to figure out the most efficient way to do this. Now, I have used these types of Murphy beds before, and I've never struggled with putting them up and pulling them down like I have struggled with this bed. I don't know if they've changed the type of bed that they're using or change some of the mechanisms, but it definitely is difficult. Kind of as you get to this point right here, you need to really start pushing, and it takes a lot of effort in order to do that. Not something that we're a huge fan of. Sure, you can pull it off. Sure, it's something that you can manage, but I would hesitate to say that this is something everyone can do. It's certainly not something that is easy to do. In fact, later on, I'll try and put the bed up on my own, and I struggled with it. So I do think that that's something to take note of. If you are thinking about staying in this room, maybe you struggle with moving around heavy things, pulling and pushing, this might not be ideal for you. Now, there's one more thing that I want to talk about before we wrap this up, and that is the door to the bathroom. I realized I walked right past it, which was easy to do because it is a pocket door, and I mean a true pocket door, so it sits flush with the door frame. And opening this can be a little bit complicated. You need to use your fingers to pull at a little lever, and then in order to lock the door, the lock is pretty much flush with the door itself. So if you struggle with fine motor skills, or maybe you have arthritis, something like that, that makes it very difficult to move very tiny pieces, it would be difficult to get your fingers to maneuver these levers in just the right way, this might not be the room for you. So I do think that that's something that is worth mentioning, and quite frankly, this entire room isn't really disability or challenge friendly. If you have challenges with so many different things, I feel like this room is going to be a problem, even if those things don't necessarily require an accessible room on a daily basis. So I do think that that's something to make note of. This is something to be aware of. If you're thinking about staying in one of these rooms, I do think that there are plenty of better options. All right, there was our look at the Tower Studio at Disney's Riviera Resort. Tell me your thoughts. Would you stay in this room? I feel like it is not going to be for everyone, especially because not everyone only has 2 people in their traveling party. So tell me your thoughts, put them in the comments down below. Of course, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you liked this video. Also, it gives us a little bit of pixie dust when you do that. It makes us feel a little bit better about situations that didn't really work out the way we hoped they had, and we could use that with this one. Also, subscribe if you want to make our day extra magical. It helps us out and it helps you out so that you don't miss any of the other videos that we do here on the channel. But I think that's all for now. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you have to say in the comments, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.